disaster strikes from the heavens in the blink of an eye. For a moment, the serpent dominates the terrain, wound-tight, toxic, and arrogant regarding its lethal status. Then, execution drops from the clouds, not via toxicity or teeth, but with velocity so exact it renders the venom meaningless. Nature enforces a savage law that killers learn too late: lethality is not invincibility. This chronicle follows venomous reptiles that committed one grave error, disregarding the eyes, tracking their every move. Amidst the undergrowth, a cobra elevates, flaring its hood in an ultimatum. It oscillates, gauging range, priming a blow capable of collapsing a nervous system instantly. For eons, that toxin has been its guarantee. One puncture, total victory. Yet soaring high above a rival has already acquired the target. Pinions slice the atmosphere with devastating power. Talons remain retracted. The beak spearheads the assault. Zero hesitation, zero inefficiency, just a direct vector to the serpent's most vulnerable point, the cranium. Collision occurs before reflexes can fire. The cobra never launches its counter. Toxin never enters the play. Surgical precision terminates the duel before it effectively starts. In the wilderness, exactitude frequently outclasses toxicity. Across the barren plains, a different serpent relies on camouflage for salvation. Static, mute, merging seamlessly into the grit and gloom. Yet, existence isn't defined by what you evade, it's defined by who detects you. Keen vision tracks the microscopic shifts. A whirlwind encircles the reptile, compelling it to pivot repeatedly, incinerating stamina with every defensive lunge that bites only vacuum. This isn't bedlam, it is calculation. Every failed strike pushes the victim toward fatigue. Every rotation reveals a flaw. And when the window opens, a mere split second, the predator executes. One definitive blow. One weighed gamble. The ambusher is now the prey. You are not observing malice. This is the raw arithmetic of existence. Velocity against venom. Chronology against panic. A memo that in the bush supremacy is never eternal. It is leased second by second until a solitary error forfeits the title. And we have merely scratched the surface. To witness the globe's most dreaded vipers outclassed by intuition, wit, and perfect performance, remain tuned in. The subsequent clash accelerates rapidly, strikes harder, and permits zero margins for failure. If the biosphere's most lethal wars captivate you, smash that like, subscribe, and enable alerts immediately, because the upcoming chapter unveils how toxicity encounters its equal on the soil. Upon the earth, the dynamic shifts entirely. Toxic vipers strike fast. Here, toxicity typically reigns supreme. Proximity is tight. Egress is denied. Zero tolerance for mistakes. A solitary puncture can trigger systemic shutdown, immobility, or expiration within moments, and the serpent is keenly aware. Wound taut under the brush, the rattlesnake lies in wait. Its physique is a pressurized coil, every fiber calibrated for a ballistic launch. The audible rattle isn't panic, it is arrogance, a broadcast that breaching this perimeter incurs a heavy toll. Yet the adversary stands its ground. Rather than a frontal assault, the hunter strafes laterally. Rapid, unpredictable, refusing to lock onto a vector. Every maneuver compels the viper to swivel, to realign, to squander vitality, estimating range. The rattler lashes out once, twice, each thrust potent, each one failing by a hair's breadth. Those millimeters are critical. The predator grasps a fact the reptile ignores: toxins are impotent without connection. Velocity negates that connection. Exactitude penalizes every voided attempt. The radius shrinks. Tension escalates. The rattlesnake winds tighter fibers, screaming reaction times lagging just enough to be fatal. Its lunges turn frantic rather than calculated. That is the instant the hunter engages. An abrupt acceleration. A deceptive twitch. Then a savage clamp directed not at the torso but the cranium. The viper retracts too tardily. One precise impact shatters equilibrium. A second strikes the identical locus. The duel disintegrates in seconds. The entity that was formerly a flawless trap setter now rests motionless, its deadliest artillery deployed in vain. Yet existence in the bush isn't secured by power alone. In a separate skirmish, the equilibrium tilts anew. A distinct contender emerges, diminutive, dauntless, engineered for mayhem. This one doesn't evade the blow. It invites it. For certain carnivores possess a genetic ace in the whole immunity. Toxins saturate the circulation, yet the biological systems refuse to collapse. Conversely, the aggressor drives deeper. besieging the skull relentlessly, disregarding agony, disregarding peril. The serpent's intimidation evaporates, its agility degrades, and once more, exactitude terminates what Venom failed to resolve. The wilderness offers no prizes for prestige, it compensates adaptation. If you remain with us, you comprehend the stakes. Every tick of the clock is vital. Subscribe immediately, and stick around for Chapter 3, unveils adversaries that transform toxicity into a disadvantage. Certain wilderness conflicts are not determined by velocity exclusively. They are resolved by sheer audacity. In this engagement, there is no oscillation, no perimeter check, no range finding. The carnivore marches straight into the kill zone. The reptile responds instantaneously. Hood expanded torso, hoisted venom primed for surgical delivery. This is the juncture where most assailants falter. Yet this combatant remains stoic. The serpent initiates. A crisp, belligerent thrust targeting the center. Poison injects. Agony ensues. Nevertheless, the predator advances. Not careless intent. Every second it remains locked in, deprives the snake of the time to withdraw, to recalibrate, to generate distance. Here is where physiology dictates the finale. Certain stalkers possess a genetic shield in their veins, proteins adept at retarding or nullifying agents that would liquefy others instantly. What ought to be a lethal error transforms into an opportunity. The hunter clamps onto the reptile's cranium, rejecting any notion of release. Every vibration is calculated. Every adjustment cements dominion. The viper convulses savagely, coils constricting sinews, flaming as it strives to liberate itself. But the upper hand has evaporated. The skull is anchored. The needle teeth are rendered futile. In moments the resistance dissolves. Elsewhere the parameters alter once more. This round the adversary hugs the soil, navigating with a multitude of limbs and excessive patience. The serpent detects tremors and lashes out, enveloping the intruder in a frantic bid to immobilize it. Temporarily the tactic succeeds. Toxin is administered. Sinews rigidify, reflexes lag. The predator hesitates not in terror but in assessment. Then the compression resumes. Section by section the assailant recalibrates its hold, declining to disengage. The reptile retaliates with its remaining reserves. One ultimate lunge. One concluding explosion of exactitude. Agony detonates within the predator, compelling it to unlatch and withdraw. The serpent endures, yet only by a thread. Venom scorches its internal architecture. Trauma goes unaddressed. Existence ceases to be about triumph. It becomes about persisting sufficiently long to evade the subsequent peril. Out in the bush, persistence is never pristine. It is a sequence of razor-thin margins piled atop one another, and every skirmish bequeaths a scar. If these instances of unvarnished endurance keep you riveted, verify your subscription. Chapter 4 amps up the hazard with antagonists that descend from the firmament and never fail twice. When the assault originates from the zenith, audio warnings are non-existent. Lethal serpents stalking. Zero tremors in the soil. Zero interval to wind. The reptile registers the disturbance tardily. Wings detonate outward, saturating the atmosphere with bedlam. Plumage fans wide not merely for aviation, but for optical trickery. The abrupt dilation scrambles depth gauges, fractures concentration, and compels a freeze response. In that momentary lapse, the upper hand evaporates. The serpent lunges regardless. Toxin atomizes through the ether, a Hail Mary defense intended to obscure vision to manufacture space. Yet the predator has already decoded this armament. Its cranium remains just beyond the kill radius. Its torso oscillates pinions, beating in measured rhythms to distort targeting. Every shift is deliberate. This avian has co-evolved with toxicity. The viper retreats toward sanctuary, sliding into a crevice it deems its salvation. However, the confined geometry transforms defense into a snare. The aggressor pursues relentlessly, obstructing the exit, herding the reptile back into the open, where mobility is throttled and alternatives vanish. A violent extraction. The serpent is hauled forth by the skull. Here, the skirmish concludes. Repetitive impacts arrive with savage economy. Not haphazard. Not sentimental. Each concussion batters the identical structural flaw, overloading the neural network before the venom can be relevant. The reptile's physiology decelerates. Musculature malfunctions. Opposition crumbles. In a distant sector, a separate standoff develops across saturated, treacherous topography. Zero concealment. Zero evacuation vectors. A colossus of a serpent ascends, hoisting its head vertically, broadcasting supremacy. A mere drop of its toxic payload carries enough potency to topple beasts that dwarf it in sheer mass. Yet bulk rarely guarantees agility. The aggressor stalks, scanning for a clumsy turn or a lingering pause.